They say the soul shows up in every part of the body, but there's a spot hidden from plain sight and overlooked by modern thinking, where the spirit gathers, is shaped, and transforms. It's not in your head or your heart. It's right at the center of your physical self, just behind your belly button. Have you ever noticed a strange warmth in your stomach when you felt inspired, a tight knot when you were nervous, or a strong surge when you realized a truth? That's not a coincidence. That spot holds an energy center, known by ancient cultures as the cauldron of inner fire, the subtle furnace where your vital energy is born, refined, and lifted up. Ancient traditions didn't ignore this place. They honored it. In Taoism, it's called the lower dantian, the field of the elixir. Yogis connect it to the Manipura chakra, the center of power. Internal alchemists saw it as the home of the sacred fire that turns raw instinct into conscious awareness. You carry this center with you every moment, but today, that wisdom is mostly forgotten. The body reduced to just muscle and bone, the belly button to a meaningless scar. Yet right there lies a gateway, a crack in bodily time, where you can awaken your creative energy, ignite your sacred will, and transform your experience from the inside out. This video invites you to remember that lost center, to return to the fire of origin, to breathe inward and awaken the internal cauldron. We won't talk about typical anatomy here, but sacred anatomy, not what science maps out, but what the soul senses. We'll explore the spiritual meaning of the abdominal center, its role in conscious creation, how it aids energetic healing, and why it's a powerful hub for manifestation. You'll learn why your belly button isn't just a birthmark, but a living doorway to mystery. How can you unlock its power through breath, intention, and awareness? This is a journey back to the energetic core where life first began, where you were nourished before you even breathed on your own, where spirit takes form, and where, if you know how, you can light the fire that heals, creates, and transforms. Because behind your belly button is more than just organs. There's a sacred furnace, and inside you carries the spark. Since the dawn of humanity, wise cultures have known the body is more than just flesh and bones. It's a miniature universe, a living temple where the elements come together to forge the soul. At the heart of that temple is a power point that's been honored, called upon, and cultivated as the true center of transformation, the energy space behind the belly button. Taoist sages mapped this area carefully, naming it the Xia Dantian, or lower cinnabar field, an alchemical reference to the fire lit in the lower belly. This wasn't just any energy point, it was the inner lab where spiritual immortality took shape. Here the yin, our vital essence, was nurtured, then transformed into qi, and finally into shen, the spiritual light. No spiritual growth can stand without strengthening this cauldron, they said. The yogis from India called it Manipura, the shining jewel. It's the third chakra, linked to fire, personal power, will, and the digestion not just of food, but also emotions and experiences. Manipura is the seat of the inner fire that burns away ignorance, apathy, and fear, turning them into clarity, purpose, and conscious action. When this chakra shines bright, a person becomes the master of their own destiny, the ruler of their reality, and the sovereign of their energy. In European alchemy, this area was known as the crucible, the furnace where impure metals were purified by fire. The digestion furnace was the internal symbol of energy transformation. It was said that those who kept a constant heat in their belly could start the inner alchemical process, turning vital energy into the philosopher's gold, awakened consciousness. Even in Mesoamerican shamanic traditions, the belly button held deep meaning. It was the power center, the connection point to Mother Earth and ancestors. the source from which energy flows to create, heal, and protect. The ancient Nahua believed the Teotl, the sacred force that creates and transforms, lived in the navel of the universe and the human being alike. Interestingly, the belly button is also our first connection to life. The umbilical cord that linked us to our mother's body was where we got nutrients, oxygen, and life itself before we had lungs or words. So it's not just a scar, it's a mark of origin, a gateway to the cosmic source that formed us. But over time, this knowledge was lost. Rational thinking broke the body down into organs and systems, and the belly's energy center was reduced to intestines and muscles. Nobody talks anymore about the fire burning inside, or teaches how to relight it. Yet it's still there, sleeping but alive, waiting to be awakened by sacred attention. To see the belly button as a cauldron is to bring body and spirit back together, to realize your center isn't in your head or even your chest, but in that quiet core where spirit takes form, where life's experiences are digested, and where real creative power grows. Those who awaken this center don't just heal and grow stronger, they start to radiate a new kind of presence, magnetic, clear-willed, a flame that doesn't burn but lights the way. Behind the belly button is the furnace of the ancients, and whoever sparks it remembers who they truly are. Not all fires burn with visible flames. Some, like the one behind your belly button, burn quietly inside, and their heat doesn't burn, it awakens. For those on the path of consciousness, learning to ignite that fire isn't just a technique, it's an initiation. We have to move past the surface-level view of the body, because what happens in the lower belly isn't just physical. It's a crossroads between the physical, emotional, and spiritual. This center, sometimes called the vital power core, is like an internal stove where the energy we take in, from food, air, emotions, even thoughts, is transformed. In practice, activation starts with mindful belly breathing. Most adults breathe shallowly from the chest and in a rush, but our bodies are meant to take the deepest breaths, right there in the belly. As you naturally inhale, your diaphragm moves downward, gently pressing your internal organs and stimulating the energy zone of the dantian or manipura, creating movement, flow, and warmth. But breathing alone isn't enough. The key is focusing your awareness. With each breath in, hold a clear intention. I am lighting my fire. You might picture a glowing sphere of golden light expanding and contracting just behind your belly button, or a small flame feeding on each breath like you're gently blowing on glowing embers. This inner fire isn't just a metaphor. With practice, you start to feel a warm, pulsing, almost magnetic sensation, a subtle pressure that isn't painful but noticeable. It's a sign that your awareness has reached that sleeping core and that your vital energy is starting to move. Some ancient teachers called this point the inner sun. Just like the outer sun gives life to plants, the sun in your belly gives life to your soul. When this sun lights up, a natural cleansing process kicks in. Your mind quiets, fear fades, doubt disappears, because all that stuff literally cooks in this energetic furnace. This process also helps balance giving and receiving. People with an extinguished cauldron often feel powerless, low in self-esteem, and emotionally reactive. Those who light it up reclaim their center, relating to the world from presence instead of lack. It's important to say this center isn't only for spiritual masters or monks. It's active, though dormant, in everyone. Working with it doesn't make you someone new. It helps you become who you truly are before life's noise pulled you off center. Waking up the cauldron isn't just about feeling warmth. It's about reclaiming your inner power for emotional digestion, focused will, and energy creation. When your fire burns, your actions have roots, your words have purpose, and your decisions stop depending on outside forces. The journey to activate the belly center is really a journey home. It means stopping the endless chase around the world and starting to revolve around yourself, like a sun remembering how to shine from within. Once the cauldron behind your belly button is lit, nothing stays the same. Your body shifts, your mind reorganizes, and your soul speaks more clearly. What started as a technique becomes a steady presence, a flame that doesn't burn to destroy, but to purify, reveal, and guide. Like the fires of ancient alchemists, this inner fire doesn't stay trapped in its furnace. It naturally rises like smoke seeking the sky. So once it's lit, it needs to be guided. If it gets stuck, it causes imbalance. But if it flows right, it moves through the subtle channels of your energetic body, waking up each center along the way. The first stop is the solar plexus. Though close to the cauldron, it's its own area, the seat of ego, self-esteem, and identity. When the fire reaches this point, it doesn't destroy, but transforms. Insecurities fade, masks crack, and a genuine will and clear purpose ignite, one that no longer needs outside approval. From there, the energy flows to the heart, the true altar of the human spirit. When the belly fire reaches the heart, something amazing happens. Desire blends with compassion, will with empathy. Actions come not just from goals, but from truth. The belly fire turns into a flame of love that can heal old wounds, open closed spaces, and bring kindness to what you do. If the fire keeps rising, the next stop is the throat, the center of expression. Here, the cauldron's energy becomes words, becomes creative speech. What you say no longer comes from reaction, but from connection to your deepest truth. Your voice changes, your words build instead of break, becoming sacred tools. Eventually, the energy can reach the brow or even the crown. There, the fire not only lights up the mind, but clears it, breaking down rigid thoughts, inherited beliefs, and fears you've picked up. What used to be conditioned thinking becomes intuitive insight, like a torch lighting a room that's been dark for years. And in that clarity, you remember who you are, what you're here to do, what to leave behind, and what to honor. But this fire doesn't just change the subtle world. It affects everyday life too. People who awaken their belly center notice real changes, better digestion and energy, more emotional balance and less reactivity, the ability to stay grounded in chaos, quiet confidence and clear direction, a natural magnetic pull, sharper intuition and spontaneous creativity. None of this is random. It's the natural result of living from your center, from the inner fire that brings order to chaos, turns heaviness into light, and makes your body a living temple of awareness. There's a universal rule. What isn't directed gets scattered. The same is true for the cauldron's energy. If you don't guide it, it leaks into impulses, distracting thoughts, and fatigue. But if you learn to hold and raise it, it becomes your strongest ally. You stop chasing life. Life starts coming to you because when your fire is lit, everything real is drawn to your center. That's the power of the cauldron behind your belly button. Not just energy, but a living reminder that you were made to shine from within. Awakening the cauldron behind your belly button isn't some isolated mystical experience or a practice just for monks or ascetics from another time. It's a way of living, a way of moving through the world with your feet on the ground and fire in your belly, a quiet commitment to live from your center, not from the edges. Here, I'm sharing simple practices and key principles to help you bring this fire into your everyday life. Because real transformation doesn't happen in rare moments. It happens in how you breathe, talk, choose, and feel every day. First, breathe from your belly, not your head. It sounds simple, but it's not. We live in a culture that's disconnected us from natural breathing. So every morning before you start your day, speak to your cauldron. Place your hands gently just below your belly button. Inhale slowly, sending the air there like you're inflating a quiet balloon. Exhale and feel the fire grow. Do this for 5 minutes when you wake up, not to get results, but to remind yourself where you are and who you really are. Second, nurture the fire, but don't overfeed it. Your vital center needs energy to stay alive, but not all energy is good fuel. Be mindful of what you take in, not just with your mouth, but with your eyes, ears, and attention. Avoid overloading yourself with constant screens and information that drain you. Every impression is fuel, and your cauldron processes it all. You decide whether to light it up or let it fade. Third, move from your center. Imagine you don't walk from your feet, but from that energy point in your belly. Feel your whole body align around that core. Practice this as you walk, cook, or talk. It creates deep grounding, a magnetic presence. You're here, rooted with gravity and fire. Fourth, live your emotions in the cauldron. When strong feelings come up, anger, sadness, fear, don't react right away. Bring them down to your belly, breathe there, and picture them melting away in that inner alchemical fire. Emotions aren't mistakes, they're raw material, and you have the fire to transform them. Fifth, create from your core, not from anxiety. True power always comes from silence. Before big decisions, new projects, or relationships, return to your center, breathe there, and ask yourself, is this coming from my inner fire or from my fear and lack? The answer will guide you like a sure compass. Living from the cauldron means living with purpose, groundedness, and clarity. You don't have to overhaul your whole life. You just need to remember that sacred spot inside you every time you breathe, every time you make a choice. Because when your energy flows from your belly, not your ego, everything you do carries strength and truth. The spiritual journey isn't always about reaching upward. Sometimes it starts by going down, sinking your awareness deep into your body, where your soul still remembers. Before we thought with our minds, we felt with our bellies. Before ideas, we had instinct. And in that center where it all started, the original fire of your being still burns. That center doesn't need beliefs, just presence. It doesn't demand complicated techniques, just honesty. It's not just for spiritual people, because really it's the foundation of all awakened life. Breathing from there isn't just an exercise. It's a way to come back to yourself, to choose every day, to live your body as a temple and your energy as an art. It's stopping the search outside what can only be kindled within. Know that everything you need, clarity, strength, direction, healing, comes from that sacred point inside you. The ancients knew this, and deep down, so do you, because you've felt it in moments of deep stillness, strong emotions, or sudden insights. That feeling of warmth, expansion, and vibration inside isn't a symptom. It's a signal, a reminder that the fire isn't lost. It's just been waiting. Waiting for your attention, your intention, your breath. No matter your past, your wounds, or your doubts, the cauldron doesn't judge. It only welcomes, transforms, and renews. You can come to it tired, scared, or lost. And if you breathe with awareness, it will give you presence, strength, and clarity in return. This is real alchemy. It doesn't change the outside world first, it changes you, and from that, the world changes. If what I've shared today resonates with you, don't just let it pass as a neat idea. Make this knowledge a practice. Let this fire be your guide. Breathe inward, fill your belly with light, and let that flame remind you of your deepest truth. You are the alchemist. You are the crucible, and you are the matter burning so it can be reborn. Thank you for opening your mind to this journey. Share this teaching with anyone who needs to light their fire. Subscribe to keep exploring the mysteries of body, soul, and universe. And next time you breathe in, don't rush. Breathe as someone offering air to their inner cauldron, as someone honoring their center, as someone who's finally remembered that the fire has always been home. What if I told you that inside you is an energy so powerful that, when properly directed, it can awaken your spiritual heart, open your inner eye, and ignite divine awareness? It's not something you find in temples or get through empty prayers. It's right there within you, lying dormant and waiting. It's called sexual energy, but the ancients didn't just see it as passion or pleasure. To them, it was the original fire of creation. Over time, many traditions kept secret knowledge that now feels almost lost. The art of masculine energy transformation and its core practice, testicular breathing. This isn't some new technique or spiritual trend. It's an ancient practice used by Taoist, Tantric, and mystical alchemists from many cultures who understood a sacred truth. Sperm isn't just biological seed, it's spiritual energy. And if you don't waste it, that energy can rise up your spine, nourish your heart, and open your third eye. In other words, it can transform you into a truly aware man. This video isn't for those who want pleasure without purpose, or those who shy away from facing themselves. It's a call to men who want to remember themselves as living temples, who understand their sexuality isn't a game, but a sacred path to power, creation, and awakening. Here, we'll dive deep, no filters, into the secrets of testicular breathing. You'll learn what it is, how it works, and why practicing it can transform not just your body, but your mind, emotions, and spirit. We'll explore its ancient roots, its link to the sacred masculine, and how it lifts energy from the testicles, the wellspring of vitality, to higher centers like the heart and third eye. It's a process of inner rising, living alchemy, a dance between the fire at your core and the light of your spirit. You'll also learn how to practice it, common mistakes to avoid, and the benefits for those who commit with devotion and discipline. Because this isn't just about sexual control, it's a direct path to inner mastery and expanding masculine consciousness. And yes, while the name might make some people chuckle or feel uneasy, testicular breathing is one of the deepest ways to access male spiritual power. You're not here by accident. Maybe your soul is ready to stop wasting energy and start raising it. Get ready to remember what modern life has forgotten. Your creative energy, when channeled right, is a ladder to the divine. From the mystical deserts of Egypt to the quiet temples of the Himalayas, ancient wisdom understood something modern life has almost erased. Sexual energy is not just physical, it's divine. Properly channeling it was a sacred science, an inner alchemy, a bridge between animal instinct and higher consciousness. The practice of testicular breathing, though not always called that, was passed down through symbolic teachings in many cultures. Taoist sages, for example, spoke of the golden elixir, an energy stored in the male genitals that, when refined and directed, travels up the central channel to the crown, awakening each energy center along the way. To these ancient body alchemists, the testicles weren't just organs, but living crystals, temples of vital energy storage, true energetic labs where life force, or Jing, condensed. By breathing consciously into this area, you could activate that energy reserve and convert it into a more refined vibration, qi, or transformed life energy that nourishes mind, heart, and spirit. In Tantric India, similar ideas appear. Siddha yogis talked about Kundalini, a fire serpent sleeping at the spine's base. While many associate this energy with the root chakra, older texts say its initial fuel is seminal potency. Sexual transmutation through breathing and focus was known as Vajroli Mudra, a technique to elevate refined semen to the brain, unlocking expanded states and deep meditation. Even Western Hermetic traditions reflect this. The phrase "solve et coagula" dissolve and coagulate, isn't just a physical alchemy instruction but an inner one. Dissolve the raw sexual energy and transform it into spiritual light. Christian alchemists spoke of the inner Christ, born in the heart, a metaphor for energy transformed from the loins to the chest. What's remarkable is that despite the different names, the principle stays the same. Creative energy shouldn't be wasted, but refined. It's not to be denied or repressed, but transformed into fuel for awakening. Within it lies the power of the universe, creation, growth, manifestation. Testicular breathing is a forgotten part of a bigger map, a reminder that the body is not an obstacle to spirit, but its most sacred tool, that sexuality isn't sin or blind impulse, but an ancient art of illumination. The man who learns to breathe from his core not only regains his vital power, but his spiritual sovereignty, becoming the alchemist of himself. At the core of masculine inner alchemy is a universal truth. What isn't lifted up becomes stuck or lost. Testicular breathing lets you turn sexual energy, the raw force roaring at your root, into a rising river of living consciousness. But to understand it, you have to know the terrain. Imagine your testicles as sacred vessels. Every day they gather the densest and most creative energy in your system. It's not just semen, but Jing, the vital essence that holds your genetic legacy, immune strength, overall vitality, and yes, sexual power. This spiritual fluid can be used three ways: wasted through habit, repressed, and turned into tension or neurosis, or breathed, elevated, and transformed into energetic gold. Here's where testicular breathing comes in. It's not literally about breathing from your testicles, but a technique of focused awareness combined with synchronized breathing. You direct your attention to that energy center, visualize and feel its warmth, and use your breath as a bridge to carry that energy up to higher centers. Why breathing? Because breath is the only voluntary link between the physical and subtle worlds. Controlling your breath means controlling your energy flow. Air symbolizes spirit across traditions, and when you combine awareness, breath, and intention, you create an internal circuit where stuck energy starts to move again. Typically, you do this seated with a straight back, gently engaging the perineum as if holding that energy in. As you breathe in deeply, picture a golden ball of energy lighting up in your testicles. As you breathe out, imagine that ball slowly rising up your spine, passing through your abdomen, solar plexus, heart, until it reaches your brow or even your crown. This isn't just imagination. It follows the central energy channel known as Sushumna in yoga and Dumai in Taoism. As the energy moves upward, it nourishes each chakra, clears blockages, releases tension, and awakens memories. And it's not just visualization. After some practice, you might actually feel a subtle warmth rising along your back, sometimes tingling, sometimes pulsing like electricity, or even like a deep expansion of consciousness. It's not about avoiding ejaculation as a moral rule. It's about recognizing that constantly losing this energy weakens not only your body, but your entire energy field. Energy that isn't lifted up just fades. Energy that isn't respected runs out. At this early stage, the goal isn't to control or hold back, but to build internal awareness, learning to feel your sexual energy not as an urgent need, but as power, not as craving, but as creative fire within. True mastery isn't about repression, it's about refining that impulse until it turns into vision. What was once blind fire becomes focused light. That's alchemy, transforming the dense into the subtle, instinct into spirit. And it all starts with breathing from a place nobody ever taught you to breathe, from the hidden center between your hips. Testicular breathing isn't just another spiritual technique. It's essentially a path of masculine energetic initiation. And like any initiation, It needs to be approached with respect, clarity, and purpose. The same fire that lights the way can also burn, and not every impulse to transform is guided by soul wisdom. So far, we understand that breathing into the sexual center moves creative energy upward. But what we haven't explored yet is what happens when that energy reaches those higher centers, and how each responds to this primal force when refined with intention. When the transformed sexual energy reaches the heart, the center of love and compassion, a deep change takes place. Physical desire turns into vibrant devotion. The heart becomes more sensitive and starts to radiate a magnetic force that can attract, heal, and expand the consciousness around you. That's why many men who practice this consistently report not just greater vitality, but more conscious relationships, balanced emotions, and a willingness to feel deeply without fear. Sexual energy lifted to the heart humanizes desire, turning it into service, tenderness, and sacred presence. If the energy keeps rising to the brow or even the crown, it enters the realm of inner knowing, spiritual vision, and awakened intuition. Here the primal fire becomes transcendent light, like the fire at the base turning into illumination at the forehead. Taoist texts called this nourishing the spirit. In Tantric yoga, it's carrying the semen to the bindu, a subtle point behind the brow that, when activated, opens visions, instant insight, and a deep connection to your soul's purpose. The man who reaches this state no longer chases external experiences compulsively, but lives fully centered, creating, manifesting, and radiating from that place of clarity and power. But it's not all light and expansion. One common mistake is trying to force the energy upward without first clearing and balancing the internal channels emotionally and energetically. If the energy hits a blockage, it can get stuck, divert, or cause symptoms like anxiety, insomnia, or irritability. That's why it's important to combine this with other practices that open your subtle energy pathways. Things like chakra work, releasing tension in the diaphragm where emotions hold tight, and cleansing the central channel through conscious breathing or mantras. It's also risky to approach this from ego, thinking mastery means controlling ejaculation. That's not true alchemy, it's just repression in disguise. Real mastery is about knowing and harmonizing the intention behind desire, not controlling the body. Without humility, this becomes a narcissistic game. With humility, it transforms into a profound journey of masculine awakening. How do you know if the practice is working? It's not about longer erections or holding back ejaculation. It's about how your presence changes. You become naturally more magnetic, feeling grounded and noble instead of anxious. Your heart opens without fear, your mind clears, and a gentle fire burns inside, like something deep inside remembers you've come home. That's the real result, turning instinct into light, sex into wisdom, fire into spiritual insight. Testicular breathing isn't just something you do quietly on your own. It's a key that can transform how you live in your body. To really make this alchemical wisdom part of your life, you need more than just the exercise. You need a lifestyle that supports raising your energy. Here I share practical yet deeply spiritual tips to help you integrate this practice into your daily routine and keep that inner flame alive. 1. Create a daily sacred space. You don't need a temple or a mountain, just a quiet corner where silence is real and your intention is clear. Practice testicular breathing regularly, even if it's only for 10 minutes. Consistency refines your energy, not how long you do it. Try it when you wake up or before bed. The key is your intention. Honor this moment like you're tuning your soul to the source. 2. Stop seeing sexual energy as a problem. A lot of guys make the mistake of fighting their desire, treating it like an enemy to suppress. But desire is a powerful current. It just needs direction. It's not about repression, it's about redirection. Watch your desire with respect, not like an animal, but like a river that can nourish your higher centers whenever you feel it. Remember, this fire can rise. 3. Connect with your heart before any impulse. Before falling into compulsive habits like unconscious masturbation or anxious searching for external stimulation, pause, breathe. Place one hand on your testicles and the other on your heart. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, can I elevate this energy toward love? Can I offer it as an act of inner transformation? This simple act can change the direction of your energy. 4. Fuel your fire consciously. What you eat, see, and think affects your energy field. It either nourishes or contaminates it. Sexual energy responds to your lifestyle. Avoid toxic influences like pornography, violence, or heavy foods that disconnect you from your body. Instead, seek out uplifting art, fresh foods, and nourishing relationships. Remember, your energy reflects your environment, so take care of it. 5. Honor slowness. Alchemy doesn't happen overnight. We live in a culture addicted to instant results, but transformation requires patience, listening, and presence. The ancients focused on the process, not just the outcome. If some days you feel nothing, keep going. If other days there's intensity, observe it without clinging. Testicular breathing isn't about forcing change. It's about allowing it to reveal itself. 6. Bring the practice into your relationships. When you transmute your energy, your relationships shift. Your partner notices it, your family feels it, your eyes reflect it. Practice breathing before intimate moments, not to last longer, but to be more present. Turn the physical into a rite of energetic union, where the sacred masculine shows up with integrity, presence, and openness. Living from your transmuted sexual center means living as a conscious man, a modern alchemist who doesn't run from his fire, but embraces, elevates, and offers it to the world as light. For centuries, the idea of the body as a temple was hidden, mocked, or broken into pieces. We were taught that spirituality means denying the body, that purity means rejecting pleasure, that desire should be repressed, and sexual energy contained through shame or guilt. But the ancients knew differently. They knew divinity isn't separate from the flesh, but lives within it. Testicular breathing is an act of alchemical redemption, a quiet declaration that a man can reconcile his primal urges with his highest aspirations. There's no contradiction between desire and consciousness. Sexual fire isn't sin, it's a gateway. When breathed with intention, it becomes the wind that lifts the soul to spiritual heights. This video isn't just about information, it's about awakening, because now more than ever the world needs men who live from their center, not from hardened egos or spiritual avoidance, but from a sacred masculine that's at peace with its creative energy. Breathing from your testicles is really breathing from your origin. It honors the place where life begins. It's a statement that your energy will no longer be a prisoner of impulses or victim of conditioning. You've remembered your power and chosen to raise, direct, and offer it. Every time you breathe from your root with awareness, you purify your body and tune your energy field to your divine essence. In that moment, you become a bridge between earth and sky, instinct and spirit, warrior and sage. You don't have to be perfect or enlightened. You just need to take a step, breathe, feel, and elevate, and then let your actions, thoughts, and relationships reflect that refined energy living inside you. This is your moment, your call, your initiation. When a man transforms his fire, he transforms his life and the world around him. Thank you for joining us on this journey to the hidden center of your power. If this teaching resonates with you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it, live it, and come back whenever you need to remember. Your body is sacred, your energy divine, and your breath the key. What if you knew there was a key within you that could eliminate fear forever? What if you realized that what you fear most is simply a shadow created by your own mind, and that you've been holding the light all along? Fear has been the quiet force behind every decision you've delayed, every dream left unfulfilled, and every path you've avoided. It's the mask that hides the truth, the voice telling you you can't do it, you're not good enough. What if you fail? But where does fear really come from? Is it there to protect you, to trap you, or to mark a crucial point you need to cross? Today, we'll explore the spiritual truth of fear, not by fighting it or brushing it aside with empty positivity, but by understanding its origins, its role on your journey, and how to turn it into power. Throughout history, wise teachers have said that fear is the dragon guarding the treasure. And that treasure is you, your true self, your inner light, and your boundless ability to shape your world. But to claim it, you must face the dragon, not with force, but with awareness. In this video, we will reveal what fear truly is from an energetic and spiritual point of view, why it holds us back in modern life, and how it has been used to control us. We'll also share ancient wisdom on how to overcome fear, practical techniques to free your mind and energy, and how doing this can align you with your inner strength. Yes, you can be invincible, not because you'll never feel fear, but because you will learn to walk with it, to transform its shadow into clarity. Fear doesn't disappear when you deny it. It dissolves when you understand it. You're on the edge of a life-changing moment, not a physical one, but an internal shift to your deepest power. All you need is the courage to look within. Are you ready to awaken the warrior of light within you? Fear is nothing new. It wasn't created with you or your generation. It's an ancient presence, a shadow that has followed humanity since the beginning. To truly understand it and dissolve it, we need to trace its history through time and ancient teachings. In early human history, fear had a clear purpose: protection. It was the body's alarm that went off when danger was near, like a predator, fire, or extreme cold. It was essential for survival, even sacred in its role, keeping our ancestors alert and alive. But over time, fear evolved. When external threats became less frequent, it started reacting to internal ones, often imagined threats: rejection, failure, loneliness. Fear turned from a survival tool into an invisible prison for the soul. Ancient wisdom, from the Vedas to Hermetic teachings, from shamanism to Gnostic philosophy, saw fear not as just a reflex, but as a powerful energy trapped in the body and mind. They understood that where fear exists, there's a barrier between us and our true selves. The Vedas called it Maya, illusion, the false belief that we're separate from everything else. They taught that fear arises when we forget who we truly are. Gnostics viewed fear as a distortion, a veil that keeps us stuck in a limited view of the world. The ego, the false self that fears its own death, feeds this fear to maintain control. Shamanism saw fear as something alive, something we can confront, communicate with, and transform through rituals and expanded consciousness. Even in classical philosophy, fear was a topic of deep study. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said that it's not what happens to us that causes fear, but how we interpret it. And Plotinus, the Neoplatonist, said that the soul is freed from fear when it looks towards the eternal. But fear isn't just a topic from ancient times. In Christian mysticism, it's described as the absence of love. St. John said, "Perfect love casts out fear, for fear has to do with punishment, and whoever fears has not reached perfection in love." From this perspective, fear isn't defeated by force or denial. it's transformed through awareness, love, and a broader understanding. Fear is a door disguised as a shadow, one that opens when we stop pushing and start observing. In modern times, fear has changed form. It's no longer the growl of a predator. It's anxiety about the future, fear of failure, fear of judgment or not fitting in. But at its core, it's still the same fear. The fear of losing control, disappearing, or not being enough. This is why spiritual reflection is so important today. Modern fear doesn't protect us, it limits us. And if we don't address it, it can become the quiet enemy of our purpose, potential, and peace. Ancient teachings have left us a map, reminding us that fear is an illusion, a mask that hides the truth. Today, we'll use this wisdom to explore how to dissolve fear. What happens when you stop letting fear control you? What if fear isn't the enemy but the toughest and wisest teacher you'll ever have? This might seem paradoxical, but it opens the door to a new way of understanding what has limited us for so long. To start eliminating fear, rejecting it isn't enough. You have to understand where it comes from, what it's really about, and what it's trying to teach you. Fear is a mental pattern, fueled by emotions in the body. It's a bond between the mind and nervous system that develops over time. Each time you feel fear, you're not facing real danger. You're reacting to a mental image of a possible threat. In other words, fear is imagination fueled by past trauma. And this is the spiritual truth. Fear isn't real the way we experience it is. Fear often disguises itself as logic, caution, or common sense. It whispers to us, don't do it. Wait for everything to be perfect. What if they turn you down? What if you fail? But in reality, fear isn't keeping you safe. It's holding you back. From an energetic perspective, fear is a low frequency, usually rooted in the lower part of our energy body, especially the first chakras. It's tied to survival, scarcity, and mistrust. When fear lingers for too long, it creates blockages that prevent the free flow of energy, like a stagnant current that stops energy from rising to higher centers, where creativity, vision, and unconditional love reside. Interestingly, fear doesn't vanish when you overcome what you once feared. It stays inside. You can achieve success, experience love, and enjoy good health, yet still feel fear because it doesn't come from the world around you. It comes from your unconscious reaction to it. This is where spiritual work becomes crucial. The soul didn't come to avoid fear, but to rise above it, to go through the process of facing it, and with awareness, transform it into light. When you do this, fear becomes a hidden doorway. If you walk through it with courage, you'll find your true strength on the other side. So how do we face fear? First, we need to realize that fear is trapped energy, frozen by past experiences like rejection, abandonment, humiliation, or loss. This unprocessed energy seeks to repeat itself so it can be released. That's why we often attract what we fear, not as punishment, but as an opportunity to heal. Second, stop fighting fear. What you resist will keep coming back. What you observe without judgment will change. Fear craves your attention, not your hatred. Third, recognize that behind every fear is a desire, something deep down you long for. If you fear public speaking, it's because you want to be heard. If you fear rejection, it's because you want to love and be loved. Each fear uncovers a hidden treasure. True inner work means seeing fear as a mirror, not as something to avoid, but as a sacred signal of what you're ready to embrace. Your soul isn't leading you through fear to punish you, but to reveal the strength inside you that you haven't acknowledged yet. When you begin to see fear this way, everything shifts. You stop running from it or trying to fight it. Instead, you feel it, honor it, and open yourself to its lessons. And then a new state emerges, not the absence of fear, but the presence of inner power. This power doesn't need to prove itself, doesn't fight or defend. It simply knows who it is. And you're closer to this state than you think. We've come to understand that fear isn't an enemy to destroy, but an energy to be understood, faced, and transformed. Now, we need to go beyond just recognizing its structure and see how it can turn into true spiritual power. This process is what many spiritual traditions call the fire of initiation. Ancient alchemists didn't just work with metals, they worked with the soul. For them, fear was the raw material needed to produce the gold of awakened consciousness. This powerful metaphor still guides those who choose to look at their shadows, not as flaws, but as keys to true growth. So, what does turning fear into strength look like in practice? First, realize that fear has a physical presence. It lives in your nervous system, showing up as a tightness in your stomach, a constriction in your chest, or the urge to flee. So the first step is to fully feel it without identifying with it. Most people try to block fear, overthink it, or turn it into anger. But a true alchemist stays present within the emotional fire, saying, "Here I am. I don't run, I don't fight, I don't deny, I just observe." In that moment, something amazing happens. Fear starts to dissolve, not because it's defeated, but because it's embraced with awareness. This awareness begins to shift the energy within your body. But that's just the beginning. The second step is to reinterpret fear, because what we call fear is often a sign of deep soul messages. For instance, if you fear failure, the real question isn't how to avoid it, but why you feel you need success to feel worthy. There, you'll discover that fear often stems from a false idea about who you are, and that idea can be changed. This brings us to a key realization. You are not your fears. You are the space where fear arises. Recognizing this is crucial. When you identify with fear, you strengthen it. But when you observe it from a higher level of awareness, fear loses its grip because it's no longer the center of your experience. It's just a visitor. This is where conscious breathing becomes a powerful tool. When you feel fear, breathe, not automatically but with intention. Breathe into where you feel the tension. Inhale with the message, "I am presence." Exhale with the message, "I release this fear." This simple practice helps reprogram your body, activating your parasympathetic nervous system and bringing you into a state of inner peace. Another important point, fear needs to be expressed, not in drama, but through creative outlets like art, movement, or mindful speech. Many spiritual teachers believed that unexpressed emotions get stuck in the soul. That's why practices like singing, dancing, crying, and deep writing are sacred acts of emotional cleansing. Finally comes the stage of replacing fear with a higher vibration. Once you've emptied the space fear occupied, you can't leave it empty. You must fill it with something new, like faith, gratitude, or a vision. Visualize, affirm, and repeat with confidence, "I am secure. I am guided. I am ready to become who I was meant to be." This act is not just symbolic, it's quantum. The universe doesn't respond to your words, but to your energy. When you start vibrating with certainty instead of doubt, the universe responds with synchronicities, opportunities, and open doors. Fear then stops being your jailer and becomes your guide, your threshold, your initiation. Once you cross over, there is no void, only freedom. The most beautiful part, you don't have to be fully prepared to start this process. You only need to make a decision. Decide that you will no longer let fear control you. Decide that you will move forward even if you feel scared. Decide that you will love even if it hurts. Decide that you will speak even if your voice shakes, because on the other side of fear is the life your soul has always dreamed of. Now that you see fear as energy, as a teacher, and as a doorway to your inner power, it's time to move beyond theory and into the practical everyday world. True spiritual transformation doesn't happen in books or abstract ideas. It happens in the real world, through your everyday choices, thoughts, and responses when fear knocks on your door. Here's a simple guide with powerful practices to help you start letting go of limiting energy and step confidently toward your inner strength. 1. Name and acknowledge your fear. Ignoring fear only makes it stronger. When you face it, it loses its power. Take a moment each day to close your eyes, breathe deeply, and ask yourself, what am I afraid of today? Speak it out loud or write it down. Don't judge or hide it. Just make it visible. For example, I fear being alone. I fear failing this project. I fear not being enough for others. 2. Turn fear into an empowering mantra. Once you identify your fear, transform it into a positive affirmation. Words have energy, and what you say repeatedly becomes reality. If your fear is, I'm afraid no one will hear me, change it to, my voice matters. What I say inspires and makes a difference. Make this your mantra. Write it, say it, feel it. Rewrite the story you tell yourself. 3. Breathe and be present when fear arises. Most fear reactions happen automatically, but you are not your reactions. You are awareness. When anxiety, tension, or avoidance come up, stay with it. Take 10 slow, deep breaths, directing the air into the tense area. Use this simple formula. Inhale, I am safe. Exhale, I release fear. Repeat until you feel a shift in your energy. This practice helps you respond with calm rather than react impulsively. 4. Take symbolic action against your fear. Fear dissolves with action, not theory. Each week, do something that challenges you. Record a video, share a truth, reach out to someone, or take on a small dare. The goal isn't the outcome, but the act of doing it despite your fear. These actions tell both the universe and your subconscious that you're in control, not fear. 5. Purify your energy field every day. Fear clings to your energy like dust. You need daily spiritual cleansing. It doesn't have to be complicated. Just simple practices like imagining the water washing away your fears during a mindful shower, burning incense like sandalwood or sage, or doing an inner fire meditation. Visualize a flame at your solar plexus, burning away doubts. Daily cleansing helps you stay grounded and balanced, even when challenges arise. 6. Create environments where fear can't grow. Fear thrives in negative, stressful, or overly controlling environments. Take a look at your social circle, the media you consume, and your mental habits. Ask yourself, does this conversation empower me or drain me? Does this content uplift or hypnotize me? Am I feeding my fear or my inner light? Change what needs to change without guilt. Do it with confidence. 7. Thank your fear before releasing it. Finally, honor your fear. Thank it for what it taught you. Without fear, you wouldn't know yourself as deeply. Acknowledge its original purpose, protection, and then let it go like shedding old armor. Say aloud, thank you, fear. You've taught me, now I choose freedom. This small but powerful act marks the beginning of your transformation. The path to invincibility isn't about being fearless. It's about having courage, awareness, and taking action in alignment with your true self. Now, you have the tools to begin. You've chosen a path that many shy away from. You've faced fear not as an enemy, but as a gateway, and that shift changes everything. While the world runs from fear, you've stopped, observed, and most importantly, moved through it. This is not a fight between light and darkness. It's a process of integrating both. Fear is part of being human, yes, but it doesn't control your future. It's just an old story, one that, thanks to your awareness, can be rewritten today. You've learned that fear comes from the illusion of separation, the false belief that you're alone, not enough, or that the universe isn't supporting you. But that illusion fades when you realize who you truly are, an eternal part of everything, a creator, a powerful soul in human form. Understanding fear is the first step in mastering it. Feeling it without letting it define you is how you start transforming it. Acting in spite of fear is how you become the alchemist of your reality. Every time you take a step forward, even with trembling legs, every time you speak, even with a shaky voice, every time you trust without guarantees, you're stepping into your power. But this journey doesn't end here. It's an art you perfect day by day, in every choice, every emotion you choose to observe, and every step you take toward your soul's truth. And here's the great revelation. When you stop running from fear, life stops throwing it at you, because life isn't trying to punish you, it's trying to teach you, shape you, and remind you that you were made for more. You were meant to vibrate high, serve with purpose, and walk with faith. Being invincible doesn't mean feeling no fear. It means choosing love for truth over fear of loss. And you who have come this far have already crossed a threshold. Now it's time to act, to embody this wisdom and share it with others. You are never alone. You're supported by a higher intelligence that aligns with your energy. And when you walk in faith, the entire universe works with you. So I invite you, dare to speak, create, and love, not without fear, but in the presence of your own power. If this message resonated with you, subscribe, hit the bell, like this video, and share it with others who need to reconnect with their inner strength. Tell us in the comments which fear you're ready to release today. The first step to freedom is naming it. See you in the next adventure of self-awareness.